to convey that energy to reach people's homes and to power industries. I don't want to repeat the statistics that have been given about the potential, the energy potential in our continent, including potential on natural gas. We have adequate, significant stocks of natural gas spread across our continent, from Nigeria, Senegal, Algeria, Mozambique, Tanzania, and many more other countries, I believe. But the challenge we have is how to provide major energy infrastructure projects, which normally take a lot of time, require a lot of technical expertise, and also are costly to be able to industrialize. Many scholars and policymakers have cited the fact that Africa's arable land, mineral wealth, including natural gas, a good population, as drivers of Africa's future. The only thing I want to add, even as I go into energy projects, is that Africa needs to build confidence in itself. Africans, we must learn to have confidence in our continent and in our capability to do what others have been able to do. Therefore, Your Excellency, for us, we have picked a few things along the way. The first one is government commitment and political leadership. It's very important for our various countries for us to have government commitment and political leadership, which provides strategic direction, policy consistency, investor confidence, and continuity across political cycles. The biggest threat today to Africa's development is policy disruption, which is an unintended consequence of democracy. The movement from one administration to another, which is a good thing, because democracy is a good thing. But we must find ways of insulating our development agenda from democratic transitions so that we can have continuity. And that is the discussion we're having in Kenya, generally. We have heard what President Samia has done in Tanzania, what President Ruto is doing in Kenya, and I'm sure many of our countries, our leaders are doing their best. But how do we assure that what the projects and the programs and the policy framework in place today will be in place 20, 30, 40, 50 years, so that as we do these things, we are looking at taking Africa from where we are today into the first world, because it is possible. Others have done it, Africa can do it. But if we are going to have disruptions every time there's an election, every time there is a succession from one administration to another, then that is going to be a big bottleneck. So consistency, continuity, and stability is a very key enabler of these wonderful objectives around infrastructure. As we build a democratic Africa, we must build a wealthy Africa at the same time. And the two outcomes are not mutually exclusive. Number two, robust policy and regulatory framework, which provides predictability for investors, lenders, and developers, while ensuring environmental, technical, and consumer protection issues. that is a big lesson that we need to carry along, even as we develop these big transnational and long-term infrastructure projects, including energy projects. Number three, we need to develop technical capacity at the local level in our countries. This will reduce dependence on foreign expertise. It will lower project costs and build long-term national ownership of our projects. Number four, we need long-term integrated planning, as I have said in my opening sentence. The need for long-term integrated planning is to ensure investments are aligned to future demand, resource availability, and least cost development pathways. The next lesson that we have picked, number 6, is the need for innovative financing and risk mitigation mechanisms. The case has been made for mobilizing domestic resources, both in our countries, but also regionally. And I'm glad to see the president of the ADB group here and all the other institutions that are underwriting Africa's future in the financial and resource space. So we need to have innovative ways of mobilizing resources, both nationally and regionally, to be able to reduce investor risks, lower cost of capital, and enable implementation of capital-intensive projects. What we are doing in Kenya, we've just put in place the National Infrastructure Fund, where we are mobilizing resources from the stock market by selling off part of the stakes that government owns in government-owned entities, mobilizing and using that capital to crowd in private sector financing and bring on board financial institutions, pension funds, and everybody else, including the regional financial institutions, which are represented here today. So we must think innovatively on where to get money, because the traditional sources of capital and finance are changing for various reasons, which I don't want to delve into today. Number 7, and it is linked to number 6, is private sector participation, involving the private sector so that we can mobilize capital, but also technology, and create operational efficiency while reducing pressure on our public resources that we have by collecting taxes from citizens. The next lesson we have learned is around community engagement and benefit sharing, lesson number 8. There is need to have the people of Africa move with us. It is not enough to build roads and railways and ports and harbors and gas pipelines. It's important for us to carry the people of Africa for whom we work to go with us and to reason and travel with us the journey. The need for community engagement and benefit sharing secures the social license to operate the projects that we want to do. It reduces delay. Some of the projects have been delayed because of our inability to manage the social, economic, environmental, and other issues around some of our projects. You end up with delays, you end up with court cases, litigation, conflicts, and this affects project sustainability. We have also learned about effective contract and project management to prevent cost overruns, delays, disputes, while at the same time ensuring quality project delivery. The next lesson, number 10, is environmental and social safeguards, I think which is already I've alluded to ensure sustainability and improve access to financing, as well as protecting communities and biological diversity. We have also learned about the power of regional trade and cross-border infrastructure, which has been alluded to by some of the previous speakers. And we need to organize ourselves. In this space around LNG, for example, the pipeline from Mozambique, Tanzania, I see no reason why it should not extend to Kenya, up the coast, and it can go to the other directions as well, so that we can share not only we can share in the economies of scale and be able to leverage on our various strengths. Your Excellency, therefore, the matter before us is how can Africa build energy infrastructure, including LNG infrastructure, at a scale and pace which is commensurate with our state of development today and where we want to go tomorrow. And therefore, we have a dual responsibility of making sure that we provide access to reliable, affordable energy, while at the same time having low emissions of, in terms of protection. It is therefore possible to utilize the significant resources that Africa has, including LNG resources, if we collaborate with one another. Just to give an example of the power evacuation program that we are running between Ethiopia, Kenya, and Tanzania, which has a capacity of evacuating 2,000 megawatts, but at the moment is evacuating 800 megawatts of power from Ethiopia, 700 megawatts into Kenya, 100 megawatts into Tanzania. And I think those are some of the areas which we need to work on and expand, because the capacity is there and the physical infrastructure is already in place. Tanzania has led by example in this space, but we need more infrastructural projects for gasification, regasification, power plants, and pipelines, so that we can take this matter to the next level. Your Excellency, once more, let me summarize by address in simple terms, because sometimes we complicate what we want to say with a lot of English. The future of this subject matter and the future of our continent lies on how we handle 5 things. Number 1, the people. I have talked about the need for us to go along with the people. The story of Africa's development must be written together collectively. And that's why it is important that the discourse we're having around development must be sensitized to communities, to the citizens, to make sure that we are all aligned. We must, for example, let me give this example. Many African countries are struggling with the politics of identity, especially subnational identities. Luckily, Tanzania largely does not fall under that category. Kenya does. And if you look at our constitutional order in many of our countries, there is need for identity. There is need for democratic space and expression and identity. But there is also, increasingly going forward, the need for African leadership to pursue not just the politics of identity. In fact, we should overcome the politics of subnational identity and promote more the politics of interests and wealth creation. We must work towards making our people rich, wealthy, prosperous across the board, even as we build democratic entities, build on our subnational identities. But that's just one example. But the point I'm saying is that we must carry the people along, young people, women, rural people, urban poor, and everyone. Number two, technology. The mega projects that we want to do, technology is at the center. And we cannot continue relying on foreign technology or foreign sources of technology. The issue of technology transfer is central in this matrix. Number three is the issue of partnerships, especially between the public and private sector, to provide resources, not just financial resources, but also blend the human resources from public and private sector to give us the outcomes we require. Number four, it is governance. Governance. I think part of it has been spoken to. This area about energy, resources, and natural resources require better governance so that we can be able to attract investments, build the confidence of investors, and secure the wealth of our people. Finally, it is the issue of political stability. We can build the best roads, the best airports, the best railways, the best seaports, but without long-term political stability, all that can be washed away. And therefore, we need to invest in strategic security, not just for our countries, but for our region as a whole. Because any instability anywhere in Africa is instability in our own countries. We have seen how the 1980s, 90s have looked like. And with the developing geopolitical changes, we must be able to invest in long-term political stability and strategic security for our countries, for our region, so that we can underwrite the future of our continent, because all these infrastructure projects, if our continent, our countries are not secure, can be washed away overnight. Thank you, and it's a pleasure for me to address you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and thank you for the nuggets of wisdom that you've shared. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, one of the defining features of the Infra for Africa Forum is that apart from the conversations that move or unlock funding into infrastructure, it's also a platform for action. We have signing that we are going to do that are actually coming out of some of the things that we've already spoken about, including gas. And I'm also proud to say that, Your Excellency, 3 out of those 5 are related to Tanzania. So we are going to start with the very first signing, which is between Africa50 and the Tanzania Ministry of Health. And this is an agreement for the expansion of access to dialysis and renal care across Tanzania. Please help me to welcome here Dr. Grace Magema. Thank you very much. The second signing is an agreement between Africa50 and the Tanzania electricity supply company TANESCO. And this will be to formalize a partnership between the two organizations for the implementation of electricity transmission PPP. Thank you. I'm pleased to say that the third one is also related to Tanzania, and this is the Tanzania LNG project signing. Today, Africa50, Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation, and Taka Arabia are signing this agreement to develop a pilot project that will supply Tanzania's natural gas to industries across the country. You've heard a lot about gas today and how it's so important to unlock Thank you. Anas, may I please ask you to remain? We are moving to the next signing, which is Africa50 Agia Project Development with Propaco and the Italian Climate Fund. May I invite Luca Quadrini, Head of Corporate and Export Finance at
Please, a round of applause for witnessing the agreements. Your Excellency, we've gathered here today and many thanks to our sponsors. We acknowledge the support we received from Stanbic Bank. Thank you. We acknowledge the support received from Mohammed Enterprises Tanzania Limited. We acknowledge support from TPA. We also acknowledge support from TPDC. We also acknowledge support from PSSF, Yas Tanzania, Azam Media Group, and Mwananchi Communication. Before I welcome the next speaker, allow me to let the audience know, after our program, we've heard so many times Dr. Kaberuka being mentioned. He will have a fireside chat. Please don't plan to miss. And before that, you will also hear a showcase of investment in Tanzania. May I now, Your Excellency, allow me to welcome the President of the African Development Bank and Chairman of the Africa50 Board, Dr. Sidi Auditor, to give words of appreciation and also to welcome you to address this audience. Karibu sana, Dr. Sidi. Please, a round of applause to him.
Thank you very much. Allow me really to express our gratitude to Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, President of the United Republic of Tanzania, for the warm welcome and for hosting this annual meeting of the General Assembly of Africa50 and the Infrastructure Forum for Africa. Allow me, Your Excellency, to invite you to deliver your keynote statement. Welcome.
Please be seated. Your Excellency, the former President of the United Republic of Tanzania and one of the founding members or presidents of the Africa50, and this is none than Dr. Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete. Your Excellency, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, my brother Kithure Kindiki, Your Excellency, representatives of the heads of state and government, I also acknowledge the presence of Your Excellency Dr. Sid Auditor, President of African Development Bank and Chairman of Africa50. May I also acknowledge the presence of members of Parliament of Tanzania. They are here. Governors of Africa50, honorable ministers, Secretary General of the African Free Trade Area, Honorable Wamkele Mendi, Mr. Elena Abobise, Chief Executive Officer of Africa50. I also acknowledge the chiefs of the security organs here present, Tanzanian security organs, members of the diplomatic corps, development partners, good morning. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to the United Republic of Tanzania. And on behalf of the government and the people of Tanzania, I extend our warmest greetings and heartfelt appreciation for Africa50 or to Africa50 for entrusting our country with the privilege of hosting this year's Infra for Africa Forum and General Shareholders Meeting. Since its establishment, this forum has become one of Africa's vital platforms for shaping the continent's infrastructure and investment agenda. We are extremely honored that following the successful hosting of previous meetings by fellow African nations, including the last one in Mozambique, Tanzania has been chosen to welcome this distinguished gathering this year. Thank you very much, and you are most welcome. And this reflects growing confidence in Tanzania's economic transformation, investment potential, and a strategic role as a gateway connecting Africa's markets. More importantly, it reaffirms our shared conviction that Africa's future is best driven by African leadership, African capital, and African partnership. Before I proceed, allow me to thank the previous speakers and my dear brother Kindiki and the panelists for informative dialogue throughout from East Africa to West Africa that indicates gaps we have and opportunities of for investments we have in our continent. Excellencies, distinguished participants, the theme of this year's forum that says a decade of impact from vision to delivery is both timely and benefiting. Clearly, Africa has never lacked visions. Through the Agenda 2063, the African Continent Free Trade Area, and our national development plans, we have set ambitious goals for socio-economic transformation of our societies. Our priority now has pivoted towards delivery, and I insist, delivery. It goes without saying that our people measure progress not by the declaration we make, but by the visible outcomes, such as roads, reliable energy, efficient ports and railways, digital connectivity, and infrastructure that creates jobs, attracts investment, and improves lives. That's why this forum matters. It is indeed bringing together leaders, investors, financiers, and development partners with a common purpose. The purpose is to transform ideas into bankable projects, partnerships into investments, and Africa's immense potential into lasting prosperity for our people. We meet at the time of heightened global uncertainties, marked by geopolitical tensions, conflicts, climate change, supply chain disruptions, and financial pressures. Although many of the challenges originated beyond Africa, their impact sends ripple effects across our continent. These realities reinforce the need for Africa to build resilience and self-sustaining economies by adding value to our resources, strengthening regional value chains, expanding intra-African trade, and mobilizing domestic capital for our own development. At the heart of this transformation is infrastructure. Our roads, ports, railways, energy systems, and digital networks must drive growth, withstand future shocks, and enhance Africa's competitiveness. By developing bankable projects, mobilizing long-term financing, and attracting private investment, Africa50 reflects Africa's determination to finance, build and own its own future, and hence, through collaboration, strong partnership, and effective implementation, we can build a more resilient, competitive, and prosperous Africa. Excellencies and distinguished participants, As for us, Tanzania, our infrastructure transformation is guided by the Tanzanian Development Vision 2050 for the 25 years to come, whose implementation commenced last month, July this year. The vision spells out our ambition to build a competitive, industrialized, and inclusive economy driven by innovation, human capital, sustainable development, and modern infrastructure. Recognizing that this transformation cannot be achieved by the government alone, our 25 years journey to 2050 places the private sector at the center of economic growth, with ambition that 70% of economic contribution will be driven by the private sector, locally and global private sector. Our role as the government is therefore to create a predictable investment climate, deliver strategic public infrastructure, and build partnership that unlock private sector capital, innovation, and entrepreneurship. Over the past years, Tanzania has undertaken ambitious infrastructure development programs in our history. We have expanded and modernized the port of Dar es Salaam, enhancing its efficiency and strengthening its role as a regional trade and logistic hub. We are advancing the standard gauge railway to improve connectivity, reduce transport costs, and facilitate trade with neighboring countries. And we also investing in strategic roads, network, bridges, logistic corridors, and modern airports, so as to strengthen national, regional, and global connectivity. These investments are already generating impact by reducing logistic costs, attracting investments. Maybe when the Tanzania Investment Center, we do the presentation, we see how Tanzania is receiving the FDIs from outside the country. So they are also reinforcing Tanzania's role as a strategic gateway for land-linked countries, including Burundi, Rwanda, Uganda, Zambia, Malawi, and Democratic Republic of Congo, by providing efficient access to regional and global market. Tanzania's strategic location along the Indian Ocean has historically positioned our country as a natural gateway to Africa. Today, through sustained investments in infrastructure, we are strengthening this role by connecting markets, facilitating trade, and supporting regional integration. As an active member of both the East African Community and the Southern African Development Community, Tanzania occupies a unique position as a bridge between the two important regional blocs. We are committed to using this position to strengthen cross-border trade, develop regional value chains, and promote investments that deliver shared prosperity. The African Continental Free Trade Area further complements regional efforts to enhance trade, investment, and infrastructure connectivity. We therefore stand ready to work with Africa50, governments, investors, and development partners to accelerate delivery of infrastructure that connects our people, industries, and unlock Africa's economic potential. Distinguished participants, talking on building Africa's next generation infrastructure, we are relying heavily on building integration systems that drive industrialization, innovation, and competitiveness. And in this respect, energy remains the foundation of economic transformation. Without reliable, affordable, and sustainable energy, industries cannot grow, business cannot expand, and economies cannot compete. So, in cognizance of this fact, Tanzania is investing in a secure and diversified energy sector through hydropower, renewable energy, and natural gas. The Julius Nyerere Hydropower Station and Investment in other clean energy sources is strengthening energy security and supporting industrial development. With the continued discovery of natural or proven natural gas reserves, Tanzania is well positioned to contribute to regional energy security while promoting value addition, manufacturing, and economic diversification. We also recognize that Africa's energy future depends on stronger regional cooperation, cross-border transmission, networks, and regional power pools that will enhance energy security, reduce costs, and provide reliable power to support our growing economies. And my brother Kindiki has explained very nicely our East African pool, but we also have the Southern African power pool, which also provide electricity, reliable electricity to our countries. Equally important is digital infrastructure. In today's world, connectivity is essential as roads, ports, and energy. Through the national ICT broadband backbone, Tanzania is expanding digital access, improving public services, promoting financial inclusion, supporting innovation, and creating new opportunities, especially for young entrepreneurs. It is obvious that infrastructure alone cannot transform Africa. And I want to concur with Deputy Minister Kindiki that our greatest asset is our people. By investing in education, technical skills, and digital capabilities, can empower our youthful population to become innovators, creators, and drivers of African transformation. We can develop them to be not merely consumers of the global solution, but producers of solutions to the world. Regarding mobilizing investment for Africa's infrastructure future, as it was narrated earlier by the previous speakers, that Africa financial muscles for investment remains one of the greatest barriers to economic transformation, but it is also the greatest potential for private sector investment opportunities in our time. Governments alone cannot finance Africa's infrastructure ambitions. We must strengthen partnerships that bring together public resources, private sector, development financial institutions, and local and international investors. I, therefore, invite financial institutions, investors gathered here today to partner with us, Tanzania, and explore the vast opportunities available across transport, energy, logistics, manufacturing, digital infrastructure, and industrial development. Tanzania is no longer a source of raw materials only. It is becoming a destination for value addition, innovation, and industrial production and sustainable growth. Thank you. Talking of a shared vision for Africa's next decade, we must translate commitments into projects, ambitions into achievements, and plans into measurable results. The infrastructure we build must strengthen regional integration, expand trade under continental free trade area, and create opportunities for millions of Africans. To Africa50, I extend my sincere appreciation for your leadership and contribution to Africa's infrastructure transformation. Your achievements demonstrate the power of African-led partnership in delivering impactful projects. As you enter your next decade, we encourage you to continue championing innovation or innovative solutions and investment that connect our continent and improve the lives of our people. Tanzania stands ready to deepen its partnership with Africa50. As you have witnessed here, we signed 3 MOUs or agreements with Africa50, and we expect better implementation of those agreements. So Tanzania stands ready to deepen our partnership with Africa50, investors and all stakeholders committed to building a connected, competitive and prosperous Africa. Excellencies and distinguished participants, before I conclude, I would like to encourage you to extend your engagement with the people of Tanzania beyond the meeting halls and invite you to experience the warmth of our people, the richness of our culture, and the beauty of our country. From the endless plains of the Serengeti, the proudly standing Mount Kilimanjaro, and to the breathtaking, beautiful islands of Zanzibar, Tanzania offers memorable experiences and exciting opportunities for tourism, hospitality, and sustainable development. Take time to experience them. Before you go back and buy another ticket to come back, you are here. Use them. I also wish to share our pride in hosting, together with our neighbors, Kenya and Uganda, the historic Total Energies CAF African Cup of Nations, AFCON Pamoja 2027. The first ever AFCON tournament to be hosted in East Africa, and the first in the history of the competition to be jointly hosted by 3 countries. This milestone reflects not only our shared passion for sports, but also Africa's growing confidence and ability to deliver world-class events while strengthening regional cooperation and investments in sports. As Africans, when we work together, there's no limit to what we can achieve. With these remarks, it is now my honor and privilege to declare the 2026 Infra for Africa Forum and Africa50 General Stakeholders Meeting officially open, and I wish you fruitful deliberations. Thank you. God bless Africa. God bless Africa50. Thank you for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
A round of applause to Our Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, for those great words. And here she bids farewell before we proceed with our program. Brass band, please let us escort Her Excellency as she heads out. Please take your seats.